Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today. We're now going to get started with the mock COP26 campaign webinar. We're really excited that all of you have joined us here today. So this is mock COP26's first webinar of the year, but we plan to host many more events throughout the year, some of which you'll hear about later today. As some of you may have heard, mock COP26 is a youth-run event, which will talk a little bit more about the details of what we did this past fall and what our plan is for now and for this upcoming phase 2 in our campaign. So we're really excited to have you here today, and this event is hosted by mock COP. So we're now going to introduce ourselves, myself, and the other panelists and presenters here today. So my name is Malaika. I use she, her pronouns. I am in Canada, and I am currently a student staff member for mock COP. So I work on organizing the campaign behind the scenes and was also a campaign or an event coordinator in phase 1. I'll now pass it over to Sonali to introduce herself.
Thank you, Malaika. Hi, everyone. My name is Sonali. I use she, her pronoun. I'm currently in India. During the phase 1, I was one of the event coordinator, and currently I work as an international volunteer for mock COP. I'll pass over to Pauline.
Hello, everyone. I'm Pauline Owiti from Kenya. I use she, her pronoun. I was one of the event coordinators for Africa in phase 1, and I'm a now volunteer. Thank you very much, and I'll pass it back to Malaika.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. Well, we're really excited to be here with you and share a bit about this campaign. I'm now just going to go over a few of the logistical aspects of this webinar, just so you know. So you will not be able to unmute yourself. Just to keep everyone quiet so that everyone can hear our presentation. And we do ask that you keep your video off, just so that for the live stream on YouTube, it will just be showing us to avoid any privacy concerns that may arise there. And we also want to sincerely apologize that unfortunately on the YouTube live stream, we were not able to get live captions. We know that we advertised that we would, and we tried hard to get captions on our events, but unfortunately it has not worked out. So we apologize for this and hope to have captions live next time. But for now, we will have our event as is, and you can rewatch it later on YouTube with those captions. We also highly encourage you to use the chat. Ask questions in the chat throughout the event. We will be answering all of your questions at the end of the event. So feel free to message questions in the chat. There are people monitoring the chat that will be taking note of all of them. So now let's dive right into it.
So what was mock COP? Mock COP26 is an international youth-led project mobilizing around the postponement of COP26. In 2020, when COP26 got postponed, we hosted a worldwide online event mirroring COP26. We brought together more than 300 delegates over 142 countries to work on a global statement to show the world leader and the global community what an ambitious yet realistic COP should look like.
So during our event, we had over 330 youth delegates representing 140 countries. The delegates were aged between 11 to 30 years, and 63% of the delegates were female or non-binary. We also had a good representation from the Global South that made up to 72% of the delegates. We gave important position to Global South delegates because we feel that they had more weight on the views. Thank you.
At the end of the event, mock COP26 delegate came up with a global statement with the help of lawyers and other professionals, consisting of 18 policies. These policies were in 6 areas. Pauline, you can.
Just as Sonali said, the conference culminated with a global declaration to the world leaders with 18 ambitious yet realistic policies The themes that we were covering were climate education, climate justice, climate resilient livelihood, physical and mental health, nationally determined contributions, and protecting biodiversity.
Amazing. So now we know what we did last fall. We hosted an amazing online conference for 2 weeks and had the outcome be this global statement. But where are we heading now and what are we doing? Well, we are now in phase 2 and we're focusing on the campaign, which is really lobbying governments around the world to work to implement this treaty so that there's actually an impact and an outcome that comes out of our conference. So we're working with young campaigners, delegates, volunteers from countries all around the world to get policies from within our treaty implemented. In phase 2, we also have 8 student staff. So as I mentioned, I am a student staff working from Canada. We also have Vincelar from Papua New Guinea, Mana from Japan, Kello from Nigeria, Lara from Colombia, Sharop from Kenya, Josh from the United Kingdom, and Shreya from Nepal. So we are an international team from 8 different countries that are working behind the scenes to support this campaign, along with many amazing volunteers working to support us, as well as campaigners and other individuals working on this.
New Year comes with new agendas. 2021 came with its own set of goals for more COP. During phase 2, during the phase 2 period, we'll focus on 6 points, making 6 points. Like the next slide, please. The 6th point, which we are currently focusing, is to make 30 countries implement one or more policies committed from our treaty, securing ambitious outcome at COP26 by influencing delegates and getting a strong presence in both the treaty and in the zone, including in the negotiation terms to ensure that COP26 strongly committed for delivering climate education, expand the network of individuals and organizations publicly, supporting individual policy asks from the COP26 treaty, create a network of climate activists actively collaborating on policy implementation centered on the COP26 treaty. These are the 6 main agendas which we are currently focusing in the phase 2.
So we're now going to go over some of the really exciting progresses and successes that we've already had within our campaign to share with you now. So although we're only going to be sharing a handful of countries, we've also had many different progresses and successes in other countries, which we hope to share at later events. So first up, we have Finland, which has made some incredible progress in their campaign. So our Finland delegates and campaigners have sent letters to their prime minister, president, and all ministers. They've had meetings with senior advisors and other government officials. They've made themselves a campaign plan and created their own website. They've also created the treaty, which they had proofread by Finnish lawyers. They've grown their team and recruited other campaigners to help them and have funded or raised an astonishing 6,000 euros to fund their travel, campaigning, and other graphical needs. They believe that 60% of the treaty will be implemented in Finland alone, which is amazing. And in their upcoming election, they plan to go to every constituency in the country to talk about MOCOP and talk about the treaty. So we're super excited about the progress Finland has made as they're moving really fast, and we're really excited to see where they go with their campaign.
That's so amazing. Now the next country is the United Kingdom. They have sent letters to their prime minister and the government ministers. They have received a reply from Alok Sharma himself. They will continue meeting regularly with the cabinet officers, and they have planned few meetings with Alok Sharma in the future.
Let's now move to Turkey. To ensure that our treaty reach a large number of people and it's understood by those same people, the delegates in Turkey have translated MOCOP treaty to Turkish. They have gone a step ahead to share the treaty with their president, Minister of Environment, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mayor of Istanbul, as well as 2 opposition leaders. Currently, they are in talks with the Minister of Environment about adoption of climate education and tirelessly working on policy 1.1 and 1.2, that is climate education. Just to give you a glance of policy 1.1, it talks about up-to-date education on climate crisis for all children, and policy 1.2 talks about opportunity to learn about connection with nature, including drawing upon knowledge and practice of indigenous people. Well done to the Turkish team.
That's so impressive. In Japan, the delegates had a meeting with the Ministry of Environment, who is willing to put together a closed-door discussion with the Minister of Environment. In future, our Japan hub will support more COP26 to implementation of the treaty through academic support. And once the meeting with the Environment Minister happens, they will take the treaty to their Prime Minister. Isn't that amazing?
In Nigeria, supported by the Ministry of Environment on a 2-day virtual training and workshop for the start of national project being done by their constant on climate change. That's good that's a good move by the Ministry of Environment in Nigeria. And the project will cover all the 36 states of Nigeria. That means MOCOP treaty will be known among 36 states of Nigeria. Kudos to Nigeria. And that's the way forward for Global South team.
And finally, here in Canada, where I am with the team that I've been working with, we've sent a letter to the Prime Minister and ministers that would be responsible for this area. We've received a personalized reply from our Minister of Environment, which was quite surprising for us here in Canada to receive a reply from him. He acknowledged the work that COP26 had done and the work that was being done here in Canada and the upcoming work to be done at COP. We've requested a meeting with the Environment Minister now to discuss this in more detail, and we've decided to focus our attention on policy 2.4 within the treaty, which is the policy of ecocide. So therefore, we've decided to collaborate with Stop Ecocide Canada, an existing group already working on this issue, and we also look forward to doing some more outreach within our country with the other youth networks and youth groups all across the country to bring this policy to government level. And finally, another really exciting thing that we want to share is that we were lucky enough to get a meeting with COP26 President Alex Sharma. So Alex Sharma is the president of COP26 that'll take place in November in Glasgow. So a group of the staff, student staff, as well as the UK delegate team were able to have a meeting with him. And we are very grateful for the time that he took to meet with us, to answer our questions, and to discuss our treaty with us in detail. We appreciate all that he's doing, and we look forward to hopefully having future meetings with him as well.
So to get involved in MOC COP26, you can join the campaign. You can read the treaty on our website and also join the International Volunteers team. We are also available on different social media platforms. On Instagram, find us at MOCOP26, on Twitter, as well as MOCOP26, on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and our website is www.mocop.org.
Amazing. We're now going to jump into a Q&A session. So we have a few questions to start us off, but we'd also love if everyone else could send in questions via the Zoom chat. We have people monitoring the chat that will send them to us. We'd love to answer any questions you have for us. To answer your questions, any questions you have about our campaign, about phase 2 or phase 1 during the event, or anything else. So I'm going to start with a question for Sonali. What do you hope will happen at COP26? Okay, I'm going to pass that one to Pauline for now then. Pauline, what do you hope will happen at COP26?
I'm hoping that most of the world leaders get to send youth as part of their delegation to the COP26 to also have like a place where they could learn how to make policies and also their ideas taken into decision making.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really hope that youth voices are heard at this COP and that we can also have global south and marginalized voices heard, and that this can be a really transformational and important COP. We know that COP in Paris 6 years ago was really had huge headway and transformation for the climate movement. So I'm hoping that COP26 can be a similar one where we see huge action going forward. I'm now going to answer this one. How will the lobbying work go? And what is the assurance that the mock COP treaty will be adopted? So our plan for campaigning is we actually have a list of flexible target countries we're working with. Some of them are the ones that you saw that we talked about with our successes. And so the staff are supporting delegates and campaigners in those countries to do their lobbying efforts. So we do not have any certainty or guarantee that we will get the policies implemented everywhere that we would like, but we are working with all of our different connections across the world. And like we said with Finland, they feel really strongly that they're going to, due to the campaign plan they've developed and due to their country and their situation. So we are hopeful. We have no guarantees, but we are really hopeful due to all of our connections and all of the amazing young people that are working around the world to get this treaty implemented. I'm now going to ask Pauline, how can someone get involved or support mock COP?
So to get involved in mock COP, you can join our campaign. You can also volunteer as a international volunteer. And most importantly, remember to read our treaty. Yes.
Absolutely, yes. And all of those things you can find on our social media. So if you go and follow us there, you'll see all of those opportunities. Okay, I have another question here for, I will answer this one. Will you be at COP26? So the mock COP26 team does not have any guarantee that we will be there right now, although we have applied to host a few different exhibits at COP, as well as we have applied for observer status. So we hope to be able to attend and take our treaty there and have those meaningful discussions with the leaders and the attendees of COP, but that's not something that we know for sure at this time. So thank you everyone for the questions. We have a few more here, but please keep sending in your questions, send them into the chat, and we will definitely answer them. What is the connection between mock COP and COP26? So Nali, do you want to answer that one? Oh, looks like Sonali's just joining. Pauline, do you want to answer that? What's the difference between mock COP and COP26?
Pardon?
What's the difference between mock COP26 and COP26?
Okay, so mock COP26 is an international youth-led project that was mobilized around the postponement of COP26. And COP26 is the COP is the official United Nations Conference of Parties. So mock COP26 was for the students, by the students, and COP is mostly for world leaders. Yeah, you can add more, Malaika.
Yeah, absolutely. You had that. The COP26 is a United Nations event that happens annually, and Mock COP is our youth-run version of this event that we've ran for the first time this year. Okay, so we have a question here. If I have applied to become a volunteer, should I wait for the team to contact me? Yes, absolutely. We have a whole team working on volunteer management and recruitment. They'll absolutely be contacting you soon. They'll also be hosting volunteer calls to welcome you. So yes, please be assured it may take time as we wait for a good number of people's applications to trickle in, but I can assure you that you will be contacted soon. And the same thing goes for the lobby network. So if you've applied to be a campaigner or you've filled out the form, we're absolutely emailing you. We're emailing them every few days as we see those applications come in. So just be patient with us, and then we are adding you to our Slack and introducing you to our campaign as you come in. So great questions, yes, and feel free to send any others. You can send them to any of us on direct message on Slack or to everyone on Slack as well. Okay, we have another question here is, will there be another mock COP26? I'll pass that to Sonali. I think you're here now.
Yeah, I'm here now. I'm so sorry, for some reason my network isn't working very well here. Now coming back to the question, it's still under discussion. We are not sure, but yeah, we are hoping to have another mock-up next year as well. But it's still under discussion. There's nothing for sure right now. The idea of mock-up is to basically create a youth voice in decision making, and if our leaders take some actions to decrease the gap between decision making and the youth participation, then I don't think that there should be any point of having another mock-up. But if it doesn't happen, then obviously we the youth will take lead in it. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't have any further one planned. So we don't have a mock-up planned for this coming year. Right now, our goal is on the campaign. So it's possible something could happen again in the future with an event, but for now we're focusing on our campaign as well as hosting events like these in the lead up to COP26. So another question I have is, what types of programs will be performed, and what about engagement and the time and schedule? So I think we're asking here about what are we doing from now until November? So we are hosting these events. So this is kind of, I guess, what you may be referring to about the program. So we're hosting, there'll be 5 or 6 more of these events, and they'll actually be under each of our themes for the conference. So we'll have one on climate education, and then we'll talk more about our upcoming one happening next month. So our program is that we're campaigning behind the scenes all the time. We're supporting our campaigners, we're supporting our volunteers, and we're working with our target countries to try and get these policies implemented. And then, yeah, so this is really our campaign phase. So we're working with governments, we're working with young people in their countries on the ground and hosting these events. So there'll be one event each month from now until November when COP happens, and then possibly an event after COP as well. I'm now going to ask Sonali a question again. What was the response from policymakers from our treaty? So we made our treaty in the end of mock COP26, and what did government officials think of that?
So initially we did get a very good response on our treaty. Because our treaty consists of the major issues which currently all the countries all over the world is facing, and we needed a voice to point these things out. So we did have few good response, and we are hoping to continuously getting all these positive feedbacks as well.
Amazing. Okay, I'm going to take this one. This is, what is the criteria to be a target country? Do the mock COP delegates choose the target countries? So this is a really amazing question. And we actually had a lot of discussion on what we wanted to be a target country. So as Sonali talked about earlier, our goal is to get one or more policies adopted by 30 countries or states around the world. So to do that, we wanted to outline a list of reasonable and realistic countries in which we could try and target to get policies implemented. So what we ended up doing was we saw where we had engagement from volunteers and where we had people on the ground that wanted to support lobbying efforts. We also thought about which countries were progressive and we thought had a somewhat reasonable chance at implementing the treaty. And then we also looked at their geographical location and where it was safe to campaign and other logistical aspects. So our target countries are not set in stone. We are definitely open to switching them. But if you go on to our social media and you look at the campaigners forum to join our campaign, the countries will all be there. And that's where you can tell us which country you want to lobby with. Or if there's another one that you really think should be on there, then you can absolutely let us know as well, and we will look into that. But that's kind of the framework that we've used for now to choose our target countries, which are the ones we're working on now. So I'm going to ask one last question to Pauline. Since mock COP is a global movement, what are some of the challenges that we found virtually?
So one of the big challenges we encountered during working on mock COP was time zone differences. We had people from different areas, like we said, 140 countries, and managing time zone for people from 140 countries was a very difficult thing. That was a very major challenge. I'll pass to Sonali to talk about one major challenge.
As Pauline mentioned, that definitely time zone was one of the major challenges which we faced during when we were working on this. I think the second challenge what we faced was making sure that our delegates are safe, since not every country consider discussing about these kind of activism as a very positive aspect. And we had countries where raising your voices and were considered to be very offensive, and there could have been very catastrophic effects to about this to the delegates. And it was our responsibility to make sure that our delegates are safe, because at the end of the day, what they are doing is presenting their country's view and what's making sure that their countries get what they need. And I think that was really one of the things which we wanted to make sure that our delegates are safe. What about, I'll ask Malaika to give one of her.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all of you guys have said. Overall, it's really amazing to work on an international movement, but I agree that time zones can certainly be a trouble. Trying to work and support delegates and campaigners across the world in all different time zones. Language barriers can also be hard when people are all speaking different languages across the world, which is really cool, but can be hard when we're all trying to translate our documents and get everything done. Yeah, so there's been a few different challenges just working over time zones and different struggles, but yeah, overall I think it's been really amazing. So we're now going to wrap up this Q&A session. Thank you so much to everyone who sent in questions. It's been really amazing to answer your questions, and we hope that this has given you a bit more clarity on our campaign, on how we work, and some of our plans for the future. We're really excited to share with you. And I'm now going to pass it over to Pauline to quickly go over our next event.
So we have an event on 13th of June next month. The event will be about NDCs, COP26 and young negotiators. And it will be as from 12 p.m. to 1. we invite you all to join. You can sign up through our website or any other social media platform if you follow us, and we urge you all to follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get more information about the event.
Yes, absolutely. And you can also use that QR code on the screen right there. If you take a picture of that, that'll actually take you right to the sign up page. It'll be a similar page to where you signed up for this event, and you can sign up for the next event. So the next event, yeah, like Pauline said, is under the theme of NDCs. And we're really excited to have some young people that have actually attended COP before joining us, and to share their experiences about attending COP events and about being a part of negotiating and negotiation teams at such a young age. So we're really excited to hear from them, and we hope that you can join us for that event as well. So we now want to briefly mention something which will be put in the chat, which is the My Climate Reality event. So it's not an event, it's our virtual reality. So what we are doing is we are creating a virtual reality movies or short films of young people around the world who are already experiencing the effects of climate change. So this is something that we have raised funds for, which you may have seen on our recent crowdfunder. But if you are interested to be one of these people showcased via this VR project, if you are already experiencing the effects in a global south country or whatnot, you can follow this link that has just been put into the chat, mockcop/climate reality, and you can fill out an application to be one of the people chosen to be showcased in here. So we really hope you'll consider this, as we really want to highlight those marginalized voices and share your story with people all around the world, because your story is so important to this movement, and we know that marginalized voices are not heard enough. So we're really excited about this project and really looking forward to sharing the outcome with you when we have these final videos. And with that, that wraps up our event. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending. It's been such a pleasure to share our event and our campaign with you. And we really appreciate you joining us today. So we hope that you'll attend our next event, follow us along on social media, and join in our campaign or volunteer in whatever capacity you can. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. This now concludes our first event of the year, COP26 campaign webinar. Thank you.
Okay, you can all speak now. I've locked